Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a little bit of a SUU soccer recap. Head coach Kai Edwards joining us. Start of the spring season. You've already had a couple friendlies already up to this point. I figured we'd just hop on, get a little recap, try and let the community know, let the fans know at SUU, kind of what's going on with SUU soccer. Had an unbelievable season in the fall, right? So, we want to get the word out there as best we can to have people come out and support and kind of try and keep the people involved. Just a little bit of a recap of what happened last weekend, what kind of went on, run me through the games, and then, whatever else you feel is important.
Yeah, the way college soccer works, our last game was the last weekend of October, and then we're pretty much off November and December, and then started training since January. So last weekend, it's the first time in about 5 months we were able to play someone else, which is good because at some point context goes away in practice when you just practice against yourself. So it was good to finally play against someone else. And one team had the drop late, so we ended up adding a boys team from down in St. George, which was great competition. And a lot of rusty things. It was the first time playing, but it was fun to get out there. And it was 4-3 us, so exciting game to watch. Defensively, not exciting, but for the fans, 7 goals is always awesome. And then we ended up having a barbecue fundraiser for our program in the MP, and had a bouncy house and a bunch of other things, and had some local community members there. Some professors were there, parents, kids. I think there's something over 75 people there, so that was awesome. And then we finished up with Salt Lake Community College. So playing 2 games in a day is very difficult, but the way the NCAA works, we're allowed to play on 5 days, so we can play as many games we want on those days. So we decided to play 2. Slick was, I think, lost in the national championship game last year. I mean, they're a good team. So we were able to get 2 quality goals and a shutout and beat them 2-0. So it was a good opening weekend, results-wise, even though that doesn't mean a lot in the spring. But winning's better than losing. And then going into this next week, we actually newsflash, just added a game last night. So we were
breaking news.
Breaking news. We're still playing Utah Tech at 4:00 down at Utah Tech, but we added BYU at 10 o'clock at a high school that's being finalized right now. 10 a.m. on Saturday. So we'll play them in St. George in a 60-minute game at 10, and then play at 4:00 versus Utah Tech. So should be an exciting next weekend.
Yeah, totally. So real quick, you said the way the NCAA works, so that's just for the spring season. You have 5 days where you're allowed to play games against other teams.
Correct.
So you can play however many games you want, but only on those 5 days.
Correct. You pick your 5 days, and former schools I played at, we would play 2 every day depending on your roster size. We were only planning on playing one of those, but BYU called yesterday and asked for a game, and I'm always down to play soccer, so we play.
It's the same for everybody, right? So everybody kind of has those same scheduling things where it's like, everybody's trying to scramble to play as many games as they can.
Yeah, so BYU has a bigger roster, so they're playing us that morning, and Utah Tech in the afternoon, and Utah Tech has a pretty big roster, so they have BYU and us, right? So,
awesome.
When we can, we like to do it if it makes sense for where we want to be.
Okay, awesome. And then as far as the spring season, I guess, is that really it? Like, it's just those 5 days where you play games, or is there anything else that goes into it? Is there something that the community could be involved in where, like, I guess, I don't know, as opposed to just like a 60-minute game, is there anything more official than that in the spring season?
No, in the spring it's all exhibition play, but community members can come out. I would say, we had great support from football last week. I would say with the football team and everyone else, there's probably a couple hundred almost at the game last week, which was awesome. And I would expect even 10 a.m. at a high school in St. George, BYU game, we'll have some fans, and obviously the Utah Tech game will have fans. And next Saturday we'll play Utah State at Utah Tech.
Cool.
And then we end the last weekend, I think it's the 15th, 16th, at BYU, which last year had about 800, 900 people at the spring game, and at Westminster. So, always come out. It's fun. we're playing all teams from the state of Utah as our 6 to 8 games, so which is always adds a little more flavor to the experience. But yeah.
Okay. Let's go into a little bit of the roster and some coaching additions as well. If you want to start first with the coaches, and then we can kind of get into the roster additions, just an update on, since October, like you were saying, what has kind of changed with the roster.
Yes, we were able to add Jen Cavisto. She was a goalkeeper here, set records in her one season here. Transfer from Azusa Pacific, had some major injuries and had to step away from playing, but always wanted to be involved and stay involved. And so we added her to the coaching roster this spring. I think she's a rising star.
Yeah.
I think I'll be working for her at some point, and she'll be making more money than I will soon, which is awesome to have that on staff.
Totally.
And then we added Joel, who I worked with at Sereno Soccer Club, which is now RSL AZ, years ago, and he was the head coach at D2 Fresno Pacific. And he came over, and he's finishing the spring with us, and we'll see after that. Hopefully, he can step up to another big paying job. He's been working his butt off, so adding those two has really helped. Having 4 staff members for a team, is awesome and helps a lot.
No, absolutely. And then as far as roster additions go, is there anything that's specific just for this spring season?
Yeah, I mean, first we lost 3 great seniors, the Hunt twins from Cedar City and Kate Schimmer.
Yep.
They're littered in the record books all over the place, which was awesome. But now we have to go forward. We added 4 players in January, 2 transfers. Piper from that Salt Lake Community College team that lost in the national championship game.
Nice.
She was one of their starting center backs. And she was a 3-year starter at Western Illinois. Comes with 2 years of eligibility and has already stepped right into starting at center back here, which is awesome to add someone with that experience and that hunger. And then 2 mid-year transfers, which is awesome. They graduated a semester early from high school, enrolled in January. Caitlin Bustos, goalie from the desert somewhere in Southern California. And then also we had Kayla Tone from Orange County. Nice. So a midfielder, very skilled, 6'1", talented on the ball. So, adding 4 new players after you lose those 3 helps, because Kayla Tone and some of these kids aren't going to wait till August to play a game. They're going to play BYU twice, Utah State, Utah Tech, and Westminster, and get thrown straight into it. So when it's time where winning is what matters the most, they're hopefully ready.
Yeah. Last thing real quick, just kind of give me a little bit of a breakdown of what you've seen from the team so far, right? Let's get a little more technical. And obviously, right, like you were saying, it is a friendly, so winning isn't the most important thing, but we were able to score some goals. Is I guess looking ahead to the fall season, are we wanting to score a bunch of goals? Obviously, that's fun for people to watch, but defense is obviously a priority. You love defense. I guess a little bit more of the technical side of what these first few games have looked like, and then what you're kind of looking forward to throughout the rest of the spring season.
Yeah, I would say currently our back 4 is looking just older than they were last year, and that's not including some of the talent that will come in fall, but just older players in the back. When you add Ange, who's a current junior, Kiki, who's a senior grad transfer, Aubrey's been starting in the back as a freshman, but played a lot in the spring, and Adelaide, who started at center back for the last 2 years, moves to right back. So that's mainly the starting 4 right now, with people like Morgan and Haley Warren, biting at the chomp to get in. So I would say in the back we're just older, more experienced than we have been in past, and more talented, to be honest. I think more applicable for the WAC. A 2-bid mid-major conference is unheard of. So it's a talented conference. In the midfield, I would say that's where we're probably the least experienced. Little young, little naive. And we saw that this weekend, moving in the wrong spots and doing stuff like that. But that's on us to train and watch video. And like today, we're going functional session. Each functional group, the midfielders training with just the midfielders, strikers with strikers, watching video training because, and going back through practice film and game film because there is an inexperience factor and it needs to raise quickly to be successful in the WAC. And then the strikers, I mean, we depended on Kate and Hunt for 2.5 straight years. I mean, they pretty much started every game. They were Cal Ripkins of the sport for us, and you know, and it was great. But now they're gone, and we're in the next year, and you know, Whitney definitely will take that mantle. But I think players like Sammy is ready to step up now that she's seen what it looks like, and Annie and Amberly and Ashley's, you know, old faithful. We know what we're going to get out of her. She can play multiple positions, super smart player, and one of our 3 seniors. So we have 3 seniors that will graduate this year. We have Ashley, a St. George player, transfer from USUE, has played for the last 2 seasons for us. Kiki Stewart in the back, transfer from Arizona State, and then Allison Keller, who was in my first group here. So she's the first one we get to see go all the way through. So, you know, still relatively young if you say seniors are the only old people.
Right.
So, you know, only 3 players will graduate off the team, but all 3 will play significant minutes next year. So, yeah, we need to get a lot smarter and understand time and space better and more composure on the ball, and we could see that in the last 4 to 5 games of conference. The jump in level, you know, makes you pay for doing naive things. You know, that maybe we got away with earlier in the season. So those are the things that when you play BYU twice, and Utah Tech and Utah State, they will continue to teach you lessons, you know, that maybe you don't teach yourself, you know. And so I'm excited to get into those games. And, you know, obviously everything's an exhibition, but you learn in every game. Last year, I have no fear of saying it, we lost 10-0 to BYU in a spring game last year, you know, and had probably 10 good minutes and 80 minutes of playing scared and losing the ball and doing stuff like that. But, you know, I think the lessons we learned there propelled us into fall, you know, and I'm sure BYU wants to put 14 on us this year, you know, and that's okay. You know, it is what it is. When I was at St. Mary's, I lost to them 6-1 one year, and then the year they won the conference, tied them 1-1 when they were number 8 in the country. So everyone can be beat, everyone can be tied. I think the key in spring is knowing what is your goal in the spring. And yeah, we won a lot of games last spring and lost big, but the important part was we got better, you know, every day, and I think that's going to be the important part this spring.
Totally. Well, I appreciate your time, Coach. That was awesome. Let's do it again soon. Keep us updated.
Go T-Birds.